what has been done already, we were on the conceptualization stage. If you remember, we discussed a few important parts, and I want to recap that. So you should be aware what already has been done. The first thing which we have done is we have developed our research question, and we use lsa.org or any other AI tool which you can use for writing your research question. And I believe everyone already have their research question, refined research question with them. Okay, so that's important part which we have already covered in the previous two sessions. And then from that research question, we discussed ChatGPT, how to use ChatGPT in order to, develop some understanding around our research question. That was introduction part of our research article or the template. I have not, completed the writing. I just gathered the information about the introduction, where I discuss how we can get information on the literature and how we can discuss or collect information on the limitation on the existing body of knowledge. So that is already being done. So these two parts have already been done. Now, our research question, because they were standardized, we use elicit.org to develop our research question. In that case, I can say that your research question was standardized and you can develop keywords from your research question. Okay, so this is where I have already uploaded one video in the previous section, lesson 4 or 5, where I discussed in the past as well how you can develop keywords from different research question. And I took one research question as a case study and developed a few research question and try to give you an illustration how you can find out the relevant keywords for your research question. So that's where you need to work. But for example, if you have your research question, obviously you are already aware of your keywords which you want to use. Okay, so the keywords are really, really important. And I have already uploaded one video on your portal. You can check that how we can develop keywords and use them for our literature search. So this is not the topic for today's discussion, because this is already covered in one video, and video is already being uploaded. Okay, so I will try to make the process simpler for you, and I'm not going into the details of many things, but as I mentioned in my previous videos as well, I will provide you additional learning material in the additional learning. They might not be directly part of your literature review process or writing a literature review article, but still they are really important and useful information which you can use literature review. Okay, so that might be helpful for you in future work as well. Okay, so let's focus on the template we were using since day one. So we are aware of our research question. We are aware of the body of knowledge around that research question and the limitation of the literature. Somehow, I'm not saying that we have uncovered all the literature, but we have an idea around those research questions. And then we have developed a few keywords which are your main constructs in your research question. They would be playing a key role as a keyword. I will explain those keywords once we will be moving into the next section as well. And I have also uploaded one video for you where you can just give me a moment. Sorry. Okay, so I have already uploaded one video where I have discussed how you can use this keyword research question to develop your research keywords. Really important one. Okay, so now let's move on. So what we have is we have research question, and then we have keywords with us, which is actually formulated from your research question. Now, search strategy. This is our next step. And I'll be focusing on search strategy and data extraction, two steps in one go, which I have already discussed in my previous session as well. These two steps are interlinked, so that's why I will be working on these steps together. So search strategy is really important. Okay, we need to develop a search strategy in order to search the relevant literature. Okay, now this session might be a little quick, so if you have any question, you can type in the chat box. We can take those questions later on, or if you feel any question is really important and you are unable to understand or there is a misunderstanding, so you can unmute your mic at any point and ask me question. I would be happy to answer your question. Okay, so let's talk about the search strategy. This is where you will be learning about the Prisma framework or Prisma guideline. So this is a website. If you search on the Google Prisma framework or Prisma guideline, you will find out this type of steps, which basically tells us how we can strategize our search strategy and how we can apply those search strategy on different databases. Okay, so that this is a standard reporting procedure. We also name it preferred reporting item for systematic literature review and meta-analysis. So this is a really, really important method, and you need to learn that method, because without this, your systematic literature review or meta-analysis is incomplete. Okay, so that's how we do this Prisma framework. It actually have different stages. Okay, so if I categorize those stages, first stage is identification. We identify what are our keywords, what are our main sources or databases. Then we try to screen our results or our search. Then we check different documents or different research article for eligibility, which we need to decide before we apply that on any database. So today we'll be learning those different steps as well, and also will apply those steps on Scopus website as well. And then I will tell at finally how many research articles are being included. Okay, I'm discussing every step here separately. For example, the first step, you need to identify the keyword. Now the keywords are already with you. We already have a research question, and from that research question we can identify our keywords. Okay, and this is where, when we talk about the search criteria, we need to decide what are the databases we can use. You can use Google Scholar, you can use other databases, but as I mentioned in my previous videos or previous sessions, it's always preferred if you can use established databases like Web of Sciences and Scopus, PubMed, or any other established database that will be more appropriate for your systematic literature review. But sometimes we have some limitation in accessing these databases. That's really a problem. But if you try to solve that problem, obviously you have to lose some credibility of the research or the criteria or the Prisma framework. So that's why I always prefer if you use Scopus or Web of Science. That's really important. Now, there was a question, can we use different databases? Yes, you can use different databases, and there is a method through which you can combine all these different results. I will discuss this step later on. Okay, so what we need to do is we need to identify the keyword. We need to define the main databases where we are trying to search, and then how are we going to extract the records. So mainly we will be extracting these records in Excel sheets. Okay, so there might be multiple Excel sheets, and then we can combine them together to formulate our final Excel sheet for analysis. That I will give you a technique through which you can combine different Excel sheets extracted from different sources. Okay, so this is the steps of identification in Prisma framework or Prisma guideline. Then a really important pattern or method where you need to define inclusion or exclusion criteria. That criteria somehow is dependent on your research question, also your research area, also your research method. There are many different segregations are already can be applied on this inclusion and exclusion criteria, but that is based on your understanding. Purely you need to provide. For example, I'm not interested in maybe non-English literature. I'm not interested in multinational companies. I'm just interested in small companies. All these different inclusion and exclusion criteria need to be listed before we apply that on any database. So we are preparing a plan here. Okay, so we have keyword, we know what databases are and how to extract the record. This is the inclusion and exclusion criteria. For example, I don't want to take more than five years of literature because the topic is really new, or maybe in past there is a lot of research has been done, and only in the last 5 years we have really emerging research on this topic. For example, for the COVID situation, you don't need to take 20 or 30 years data. You just need to take 5-year data. That would be more than enough, for 3 or 4-year data, because the topic is really new. So that's where we can define our inclusion and exclusion criteria based on different, judgmental criteria or purposive, whatever you decide based on your research. In some cases, if you are from medical background, we are just focusing on one particular set of treatments, or we are just focusing on male patients, or we are just focusing on child. So these are all different inclusion and exclusion criteria which you must need to identify and apply before you extract all the records. Okay, then you need to check the eligibility of all records. Okay, this eligibility can be checked on the database, and as well as you can check it off the database when you extracted the Excel sheet, and that Excel sheet you need to assess the quality as well. So that's really important. I will demonstrate all these steps, okay, and I will explain in detail. And then finally, you need to give us the final number of research articles which were included in this systematic literature review. Now go back. If I'm just going back for the previous picture, now you can see here, first stage is identification. On top corner, you can see identification, then screening, then eligibility, and then included. And this is a flow chart of your activities where you mention how many different databases from where you have extracted how many records, and then how you extracted those records. The important information here is this: if you check on records included through database screening, there was 3,453, a big number, a huge number. But later on, with another database, we have n is equal to 21. So 21 records were extracted. So finally, we removed duplicates, we removed all inclusion and exclusion criteria, and finally, we just have only 21 research articles. You can see how strict criteria we applied in order to reach to the relevant literature. That's really important, the way you define your inclusion and exclusion criteria. Okay, so I'll demonstrate that later on as well. So first, you need to identify your sources, your keywords, then you need to screen data, check the eligibility, and finally you need to provide us how many research articles were included and extract those research articles in Microsoft Excel sheet. Okay, and then we will be learning how we can do more detailed work with this Excel sheet as well. Okay, so this is your search strategy. You have already developed that strategy. The next step is data extraction, how to extract data. I have already developed a search strategy. I know my inclusion and exclusion criteria. Now it is time to apply that criteria on databases which we have already identified, and then extract the record. So that's where we'll be using two different databases, Web of Science and Scopus. To make things easier for you, we'll be just using Scopus. You can apply the similar criteria or Web of Sciences and all other databases, and I will share some videos for each databases as well. Let's move on with the website which we will be using for data extraction. Now I'm on the step 2 and step 3, where we'll be applying the strategy and extracting the data. Okay, this is what we are trying to do now. The website we'll be using is Scopus, a very prominent website, I believe, database. I believe most of us, we are already aware of this database. And if you have any difficulties in learning that database, I will upload some videos, separate videos in additional learning platforms, so where you can learn how we can use this database. Now, if we check on, let me, yes. Okay, this is our template. So if you remember, we have done some work here. Now, these are my research questions. Okay, how smart contracts would be leveraged on digital supply chain. So what do you think? What are the keywords here which I want to include? So one is smart contract, a simple one. Okay, and the second one is it can be digital supply chain or it can be just supply chain. I don't want to make it very much specific. That part we can do later on as well. In my case, I'm not focusing on SMEs. I'm not focusing on any country, any particular area, but I'm concerned with research articles only, and also I don't want to take non-English comments here. So this is my search strategy, very clear one. Okay, so my keywords are smart contracts and supply chain. So let's start with two different keywords. One is smart contract, and the second one is supply chains, which I'm interested in. Okay, so first one is smart contract, but remember, we always need to add inverted commas before and after the keyword because the system will take it as one keyword. And this is not two different words now. It is only one keyword, smart contract. Okay. And I'm also interested and supply chain. So both keywords are basically really standardized. So I don't need to do a lot of work on this because they are really standardized. But in your case, in some time, you don't have the standardized keywords. So please go ahead and use elicit.org to find out what are the relevant or standardized keyword for your research question, which we have already done in our practice session. Okay, so now smart and contract. So this is a simple logical arrangement. I want to search the document which contains the smart contract and supply chain, both words in together in one document. Okay, so this search can be in article title, abstract, and keyword. So keep it general because sometime we can find these two keywords in abstract, sometime in keywords, or sometime in title. So I'll be just working on these two and click here on search. Okay, now this is really an important command because the system gives me what was my command. So I just copied this one and I want to paste it in my documents where I have this methodology. Okay, so just wanted to make sure this information will not be, lost. So this is really important information. Okay, now this is my syntax or command or prompt or query. And this is the result. So I have 1,121 research documents were found in the data. Okay. Now, this is a really good start. This is where you can apply Goldilocks test. Remember how to apply Goldilocks test? I have discussed in the previous video. I'll tell you when we'll be searching the literature. For me, this is a related, I think, a relevant literature where I have 1,000 to 2,000 research article for an initial query. That's really an interesting area. But if I find, for example, I'm just trying to give you an example. I'm just studying another keyword which might be more general in nature. Just to give you an idea of how we can use Goldilocks test. So for example, performance and supply chain. Let's see how many research articles have been found. That's my understanding. There would be a huge number of research articles. It means that this area is not applicable because it's too broad, and we have 30,230 research articles which have discussed the performance and supply chain, or supply chain and performance. So that's not a really good idea. So in my Goldilocks test, this area is really easy one. So we can't take any easy topic for systematic literature review, because already there are high possibility you will find many research article based on this, even the systematic literature review. So there is no need for using this research article or using this topic. Now let's say, if you remember, smart contract, and let's say my original keyword was digital supply chain. Now this is digital supply chain and smart contract. So let's try to search this one and see how many research article we can find out here. Now you can see only 13 documents were found. Now this is too hard. I can't focus on this area because very limited information or research articles are explaining these two topics together. So that's why this is too hard. So I need to make it general and an acceptable topic. So that's why I want to work on smart contracts and supply chain. Now you do understand how we apply Goldilocks test. Too easy, not acceptable. Too difficult, not acceptable. So we need to have an article at least, minimum 500 and then the maximum 2000. That's my understanding. It depending on many other factors which you will learn in a while. But as a starting point, I believe 500 to 2000 is fair enough. Other than above than this number or below than this number can cause problems, and you would not be able to do your research. Okay. Okay, why not use search keyword smart contract, smart and contract and supply chain? Okay, a good question. Why not we use smart and contract and supply chain? Let me just demonstrate that to you, so you can understand that the way these databases work more accurately. Good question. Okay, so let me just remove these keywords, inverted comma, and I'm just writing these different words only. Okay, now they are keywords, but each word is a keyword. Now I just searched, and now you can see you will find I believe thousands of research articles, because the system is taking the same command which you mentioned. Okay, smart and contract and supply and chain. Not many documents, but still it is not acceptable. Why? Let me show you why it's not acceptable. I'm not sure the system is not getting many research articles. Now, why I'm not choosing this command, especially this one, because the smart and contract, they are two different keywords. Now, the query is like this. The system will check any topic with smart, okay? Then there should be another word contract, but it doesn't necessarily they should be together, okay? They should not be together. For example, smart is the first word and contract may be the last word of your keyword, okay? Or your abstract or title as well. And then we have supply. Supply, it can be electric supply, it can be anything, because it is not supply chain, and chain is different. Now, these different keywords are not giving me the relevant literature which I need, first thing. And second thing, in most of the cases, because there are many and that's why the documents are very limited. But still, if I just use 2 or 3 keywords, you will find a huge number of research articles, because they will extract data from everywhere. This is not designated keywords. Okay, for me, smart contract is one keyword. Remember, don't use this type of keyword, and don't use and between one particular keyword. For example, organizational performance, it is one keyword in your research. When you just use performance and organization, So organization can be first word and the performance can be second or last word. So there might be many words between these two words that I don't want, okay? So I want to restrict the system to extract only information based on smart contract. It's one keyword and supply chain, okay? Clear? I hope I answered your question in detail.
Thank you very much.
Okay, so that's why we need to be careful, because we need to extract the relevant literature, and otherwise it's it's a mess. We will not get right information. Okay, so we are clear about our keywords and the way we use. Now, these different databases, they use Boolean operators. So you can use and, you can use or, you can use not. All these Boolean operators you can use in these databases. For example, if I change this one, same research question, I want smart contract, but not supply chain. So if I change and to not, it means that the system will behave oppositely. Now you do understand what system will search. It will search smart contract, but in that smart contract, there should be no supply chain word, okay, there. And then I search, you will find article which are only based on smart contract, but there is no keyword of supply chain there, okay. So it means that this smart contracts are not within supply chain context. It's different thing. So you can use and, not, or. There are many other Boolean operators which you can use. I have another separate video which I'll update on your additional learning, where you will be learning how you can use these databases. Okay, so now let's move on, because I don't want to focus only on this topic now. I will give you detailed videos of every topic. But for now, let's do our work, smart contract and supply chain. So when I search, I find, I think 100 and 1000 and 1121 research articles. So everything clear until here? Any question? So can we move on? If everything clear, we can move on and we can start our next stage. If you have any question, you can type, and if you are clear, so at least type clear so I can move on. Okay, good. Okay, now let's try to learn why I prefer these databases. They are really, really sophisticated databases. So if you check here, you will find out we have a lot of options, a bunch of options here, and then we have a huge number of options downstairs, side, the right side. So where you have all this refine your search. Now you are playing with this query now. So whatever you will be doing here in the refine search, that will change your original query. Now what it can be and how we can use that criteria. So remember, I told you I just want to take only English language research article. Now let's say, what are the different filters available? So you can restrict number of year. So you can just click here and drag it to whatever number of year you want. So you can change this one. Okay, if you want to change any specific authors, you can include or exclude. Yes, you can do that. These are different subject areas. If you are just planning to learn from the business management perspective, so you can just click here and you can just restrict your search to the business management subject area. Document type, this is really, really important. There are several document types, but I'm interested in research articles. I'm not taking conference papers because sometimes they are too open and too early stage. They are not developed research articles most of the time. So that's why I'll be taking only articles, no book chapters, no review, no conference reviews, or no conference papers. So now you can see most of my research articles here based on only 436. So most of the document will be removed from here, and I will be end up with 436 research documents. Then these are the source titles. mean that the research journals where these articles have been published. So if you want to restrict any 2, 3, 4 research article or journals, you can do that. Some people, they only did the literature review on one journal. That is also possible if you have a really good research journal where you want to see how this journal was progressing over the year in terms of specific topic. Yes, you can limit your search to some specific research journal as well. Publication stage, I don't care if it is final or article in press, both have similar categories, but it's your choice. If you don't want to take any article in press, you can just exclude this article in press as well. The keyword, this is where most important part of your research would be done. Keyword. So if your database, for example, you are searching and your database is maybe 2,000 or 3,000 research article and you want to restrict them, then you will use this keyword and click here on all. You will see a huge number of keywords. You can select which one you want to keep and which one you want to exclude from your search. Okay, for example, if there is any keywords which you believe they are not relevant, you can exclude those. Or for example, if you don't want to take food supply chain, you want to exclude that, you can do that and just click here and you can exclude any keywords. So from here you will learn 2 or 3 different things. First one is what are the main keywords which have been used in your area. Now you try to understand how this literature or this search parameter they work. So from here you can get some idea what type of literature is already available in your okay. So Hyperledger Fabric, I don't think so that's required for me or something like this, so I can exclude. Okay, exclude this particular keyword. Okay, now similarly you have different affiliations, the universities, you have funding sponsor, the countries. If you want to restrict your search to any country, yes, you can do that. Source, I'm interested in journal, not proceeding. This is what I already told you. And here the most important one, I want to take only English language research articles so I can understand the ideas clearly. Okay, and then I click here on limit to. Now this is a quick inclusion and exclusion criteria, but remember you need to define your inclusion and exclusion criteria before you apply it. That's what we do. This is okay. So you can see 436 documents were found, and now you can see that this query is already being changed. Again, I will just copy this one here. First time with this keyword, I received 1126 26, I think. I don't remember, but just write the number of document, and now we have 436 because this is something we need to report. Okay, so that's why it's really important to record all different steps here. Okay, so now you can see it's already being changed. Document types are article only. Now I can apply another criteria for English language only. Now with the English, I have only 415 documents. So again, I copied this one, and just for my information, I paste it here, and now I have only 415 research articles. This is really important because we need to report in methodology all these inclusion and exclusion criteria, and also we need to create a Prisma table as well. Okay, so which I have shown you in my presentation. Now let's move on. Now this is we learn how we can improve our search and reduce the number of research articles which we need, and we can read to the relevant literature. Yeah, any question here?
Yes, I have a question on the search query. So
Yeah.
I'm limited to something. Where can I find the updated query? So I think I can copy paste that like what you did to the template.
What type of data are you using? Scopus, right?
Yes, I'm doing the exact same thing.
Okay, so if you click here on the advanced query, if it is closed, you will not get it. But if it is on, you will get this one. Okay.
Oh, I get it now. Thank you. Thank you so
Okay.
much.
And even if it is closed, and once you are done, you will see the queries are already down there on your, you have your profile, right? So you can find these queries again through yeah, this one advanced search. And when I'll complete my search, you will see save search. Okay, and now again I have this. And then the third method, if you check on, if you have this search button, and this is your search history, you will find your queries here as well. Okay, so there are different methods. All your work is already saved with the number of documents with each command. So don't worry, there are multiple methods through which you can copy and paste this one. Okay, so this is also available. And the good thing here with these databases, you can combine two queries and perform your search quickly as well. So we were here, I can just go directly to this query, and again, I'll be on that stage where I have 415 research articles. So these systems or these databases are really helpful. So don't worry, you will get all your information and it is saved there. Okay, clear?
Hey, thank you.
Okay, so let's move on. Now we have, initially we have done our search. We have limited our search based on different queries. Now, remember, this is a disagreement between the researchers. For example, many people will tell you, you need to create multiple queries, maybe 2, 3, 4, 5 different queries. I have seen many scholars and researchers, they always, try to tell you, okay, so the one query is not enough, you need to do 4, 5, 6, or maybe different queries. I do agree with that statement, but remember, it's a logical thing. Now, when I say smart contracts and supply chain, all those documents which appear in this search, if I include any other query or any other word, that will restrict my search, not add my search. Okay, so in that case, if I keep my query a simple one and accurate one, it means that I'm on the accurate track and I can receive maximum information from that. Okay, I don't need to apply, for example, again another digital, and again if I apply and digital, it means that it will reduce the number of search, which I don't want, because I want to use this keyword, these keywords from here. So you don't need to apply all those queries at first instance. So apply the simplest one and then refine it with these, option, the filter, and especially the keyword ones. Okay, so that will help you to access to the relevant literature in more accurate way. Okay, so there are different approaches, but this is my approach, and this really helped me to find the relevant literature in all respect. Okay, now let's move on to the next step. Now from here, now we need to export all these documents. So I'll just click here and export. I'm interested in exporting this CSV file. Okay, so I'll click here and the system will show me another window where I have many different options. These are called metadata. If you are aware with the concept of metadata, it means that this is the information related to that document which is being uploaded, means that information related to that research article. So it's not exactly research article, but this is the information of that research article. So I will choose everything and then click here on export. Now the system is going to export all my documents in CSV file, which is I can open it in Excel sheet and then I can rework on that. Okay, so this is the first phase where you can download or you can extract the relevant records. Okay, so is it clear? Any question here? Anyone having any difficulties? Any misunderstanding? Okay, so if things are clear, we can move on. Now you can see this is my Scopus file, which I have just extracted. So I want to open this one in Excel so we can see what type of information is available here. And now this is where you have to do a little bit, manual work. I don't have any specific criteria to remove these duplicates. So duplicates is not here, but remove the article which have some issues. Okay, so we need to check on these articles manually. So what I'm trying to check is I'm trying to apply the assessment or the quality assessment criteria. Okay, so the simple thing is all information should be in a particular order. It should not be scattered, or it should not be misordered. So because we will be using different database, different software to use this file, so the more accurate your file is, the more important information you can extract from this. So that's why I'll be looking at these different articles. So you can check on these titles. If you feel the titles are relevant, so you can go through them quickly. And if you feel any article is not relevant, just highlight or remove that article from this database and note it down, because why you remove that, okay? Because that is not relevant with your research article, okay? Or with your literature search. So this is where you need to do a little bit manual work, but it will not take much time. Maybe if you have 1,000 research article, it will just take 1 hour or maybe 1.5 hours for you to go through every research article and try to figure out whether this is related or not. Okay, so this is how you need to do your manual quality assessment. So these are all steps which we studied, we can use in Prisma framework. Okay, so let me find out any article which might not be accurate for me.
So you do this step by reading the title first, is it correct?
Yes, because this is the titles, because I don't want to read all the information. I just wanted to read the title of the research article. And I try to analyze, okay, whether this title fits in the scope of my research or scope of my systematic literature, and you can find it easily. But if you are confused and if you are not sure whether this article should be included or not, then you need to go and read the abstract. Abstract is also available here, okay? So you can go here and read abstract. So if you check here, abstracts are also, this is your abstract, okay? You can also read the abstract of any research article if you are not clear about that, okay? In 90% cases, we can understand from the title what exactly that the article is about. So then we can move on with that. Okay, for example, I found that this article is not relevant. I just highlighted at first, maybe, and later on I can remove it, but first I will try to double check it. So be careful while you are removing any article here, because it's really important. We need to justify why we remove that particular article. We need to give explanation within our methodology as well. For example, we removed English literature, non-English literature, and we have 415 research articles. Now, the next, maybe you remove 10 more research articles, but why? You need to give the explanation. And that explanation is really clear. Okay, these articles do not fit in the scope of my research article or my research. And you need to have that sheet as well, which was these 10 research articles, because if any reviewer asks you, can you tell us why you remove that, so you can justify easily. Okay, so you need to keep your record clearly. So that's how it works. So finally, for example, I'm planning to remove this one. So I'll just create another sheet after this filtered one, and I can just delete this one. Okay, so now we have 414 research article for say in this data. Now, this is how we extract the record. Okay, so let's go back to the PowerPoint. And if everything is clear, so we have reached to this point where you have extracted the data, right? So from this database. Okay, so there are different databases. I will upload some videos for Web of Sciences as well, but for a standard, we are taking Scopus. The similar way, Web of Sciences is also working in the same way. You can use similar queries, similar search strategies on Web of Sciences as well, but I will also upload the video for Web of Sciences as well. Okay, so the steps are clear here. We have already applied inclusion and exclusion criteria. We have filtered our query. Now we have 415 research articles with us in Excel sheet. Until here, everything is clear. Any question, anything? I believe it's really simple work, so nothing special. But if you have any question, please go ahead.